Accidental video, and in today's video I'm back with another interview. I'm here with Richard Vansiclen. Richard, how are we?
The vibes is in the building. What's going on, Alex? Channel X, what's up, man?
What's up, man? How's it going? Hope you're all well. Thank you very much for coming on the channel.
Yes, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Nice one. So, am I right in saying you're a 29-year-old super middleweight who's 13-0-1?
Correct.
Great, okay. And so, if you are new around here and you haven't subscribed, please do so. Like the video if you do like the video, and let's get straight into it. So, I'm going to start off with the question which you always like to start off with. Why did you start boxing?
Yeah, I started boxing when I was in college. So I was a former college football player.
Okay.
Ended up breaking my ankle and then reevaluating, what I wanted to do with sports. And school was fun. I had a full academic scholarship to the University of Washington, and I just was missing that competitive edge. And so for me, it was just wanting to continue to be an athlete.
Yeah.
And I had the opportunity to be a boxer, and I had some friends that were on the team already, and they were like, you should try out. And I for the first year, I just did school. But after that first year, I was just like, I need to box.
Yeah.
And I had the opportunity, and I ended up making the team, and I had really good coaches. And by my senior year of college, I ended up winning a national championship, and at the college level, and that was the same year as Rio. So I ended up trying the USA boxing team, selected to be on the Olympic trials. So I made it to the top 8 one of the top 8 amateurs in USA, and I ended up falling a little bit short, so I didn't make the Olympics, but I turned professional after that, and the rest is history. So here I am.
Indeed. And so yeah, what a great amateur career you've had. Of course, moved into the professional side of things. Things going very well for you as well here. And so I mean, you've had 13 wins, and so out of these 13 wins, which one would you say you've performed your best in?
Well, actually, that's funny that you say that. I would say the best performance was my last one, which was a draw. That was my best performance by far. I beat the snot out of the guy for 10 rounds. And not every judge sees it the same. But if you know boxing, all the experts that I've ever talked to, people that I respect, even people I usually agree with, all said that I won the fight. I would say my best performance. And that was my latest fight, which was about a month ago.
No, yeah. It must be quite frustrating for you to get that draw, but you can you are seemingly assessing it as a win, and so I'd imagine you are thinking yourself as 14-0.
Yeah, man. I just got back from Vegas. I was at the David Benavidez' kid plant fight,
right?
And tables and a push is a win, and same thing in your career because it can go south, especially when you're fighting on another guy's promotion, right? You can get bent over backwards even though you won the fight. So push, and that was a win, and I felt like I performed really great, and I opened a lot of eyes, and I have had numbers of calls and opportunities. So yeah, it definitely was a win for me.
Great. And of course, so this was your first 10-round fight as well, and so how were you feeling throughout that? Was your, I suppose, conditioning all good with that, and was it kind of what you prefer?
Well, yeah, the opponent made it a little bit difficult because he was nonstop. Hats off to him for coming forward the entire fight, even though he was getting blasted. Yeah. So that, there were parts in that fight where I could have, had better conditioning, but I mean, I was prepared. It's not like I haven't sparred 10 rounds. I usually spar like 15 rounds. So I was definitely prepared cardio-wise. It's just the opponent brought an interesting challenge because he kept coming forward when most people would have fell down. So definitely a great fight, and I felt like I was in great shape too.
Indeed. And so, I mean, you were facing tough opposition, and so would you say that your kind of mindset is to always go in against tough opposition and never take the easier option?
Well, if you look at my career so far, I've definitely stepped up in competition the last few years. Yeah. Without a doubt. And yeah, I'm not looking to duck anybody. I'm looking to be the best in the world. And if you're the best in the world, fight the best in the world, and you fight any opposition forward. And not a lot of guys want to fight somebody like me, a slick southpaw who hits hard and can box, can bang. So, I'm definitely not opposed to fighting the best in the world at all. I'm not taking the easy route.
Indeed. That's great to hear. And so what would you say is your current motivation?
My motivation right now is just, getting bigger fights and showing, where I belong in the ranks of, the best in the world, without a doubt. I believe that. I've known that for a long time, and now it's just spreading my wings and letting my momentum take me to the top.
Indeed. And so, do you have a possible date that you could possibly give us of when you might be back fighting again?
Yeah, man, you're actually. I just signed a contract.
Wow.
Just a promotional contract, multi-fight deal. My next fight is going to be June 9th.
Okay.
It's going to be a new Hall of Fame weekend. It's going to be a really big deal. And yeah, so June 9th, I'll be fighting again.
Okay, good to hear. Great. I like that little exclusive, I suppose, and I appreciate that. And so for anybody who might be coming to watch this fight and haven't seen you fight before, what would you say makes you interesting as a fighter?
Well, I'm fun. I'm not boring. There's a lot of fighters that are boring. They don't have character. You're going to get character out of me. You're going to get big punches. You know, I'm not. I wouldn't even say it's showboating. I'm just having fun in there because that's the fun part. The hard part is going to be the next 2 months of me training my ass off, getting ready for this fight because I have a tough opponent ahead of me. And so I say, if you're going to come watch me, you're going to have a good time. You're going to feel the vibes. You're going to feel my energy. You're going to see my energy, and it's going to be an experience. Not like a little boring match where, you know, there's no emotions. I'm going to show you everything that I've been putting forth. So you're going to feel that. You're going to feel the vibes.
Indeed, and you're always seemingly giving off these positive vibes. And so how important is it, in your opinion, to go in with a good positive mentality into fights?
Yeah, for me, you know, mentality is everything. And having the right people around you, having, you know, the right environment is so important. Boxing is physical, obviously, but mentally you have to be prepared for whatever you're going to get into. And there's just certain factors that you can't control, but you can do your best to, you know, have your mindset strong enough to handle those unforeseen things that come in front of you leading up to the fight. So mentality for me is like probably number one over everything.
Indeed. And so I suppose you're in a great weight class at the moment, and there's lots of top opposition around you. And is there any kind of fighters you're looking out there and you think maybe in the future, maybe even like a Canelo or something like that, you'd be like, oh, I'd love to get in the ring with them, and you could see yourself getting in the ring there with them?
100%, all of them, man. I'm not even going to list all the top names. I want all of them. I want to fight everybody. I want to be a world champion. And if anybody wants to fight, you know, send me a text. It's so easy to reach out to somebody nowadays. So yeah, I want to fight all of them, and not hindering or foreseeing anybody. I want to fight the best of the best.
Indeed. That's great to hear. And you're in a very good point of your career at the moment. Of course, 13-0-1 is getting right into the mix of it now. And so, how far away would you like to think that you are away from title fights?
Any day now. I could take on the best in the world. I've sparred the best in the world, so getting a fight is just a matter of opportunity when the time's right. I feel like in the next fight or two, that would be a good opportunity for a belt. It doesn't have to be the biggest belt, but again, in like the next fight or two, I don't feel like there's any time to waste. I feel like I have all the goods to be a world champion. You know, it's not just fighting. I'm marketable. You know what I mean? I have so many that could gain for boxing, and my story is different. Not a lot of fighters go to college and become a world champion. You know, it's rare that happens. It's very few that people have done that, and so my experience into it is a little bit different. And so I feel like that is cool, and it diversifies the sport, and it shows that it doesn't matter where you come from. We all can be fighters. We all are fighters. We all have it in our bodies. So I believe that with my experience and everything, it's the perfect combination for a new world champion.
Indeed. And so, you are just getting into it. You spoke quite a bit about the fact you want to be a world title holder. And so, what is your main ambition, and how far do you believe you can go? Is it just a world title, or is it all the world titles? Is it multiple weight world titles? What's your goal?
Yeah, I would love to unify, you know, at 168 or 175. Either one of those weight classes, I feel like I could come in and dominate them. And for me, my motivation is my family. My mom is like probably the close, you know, that's why I do it, because her story is incredible, and I want to be able to share that. And I feel like when you have a platform, when you are a champion, you can share stories because people want to listen. So I feel like with me, all the success that I'm having inside the ring, it's going to have success in other aspects of life that I want to have for sure. And that's sharing stories that are incredible.
Indeed, that's great to hear. And there's kind of one big main fight going on. There's just been the Plant vs Benavidez fight. So yeah, we'll start with that. What's your thoughts on that fight?
Yeah, well, I was there. I was sitting ringside with I sparred Benavidez for that fight, and I thought that fight was amazing. I thought it was exactly how I thought it was going to happen. The only thing that didn't happen was a knockout. But in round 11, which is one round after I had my prediction, his coach, Caleb Plant's coach, I don't know if you saw this on TV. I saw it because I was sitting right there.
Yeah, cool.
His coach had the towel in his hand. He was getting ready to throw it in. And I thought at certain points he should have, but it all happened off to Caleb Plant because he came back and fought really well in the 12th round, and I thought that it was over in the 11th. So it was a really tough fight for Caleb, and it's exactly how I thought it was going to do. He was going to have success early, which he did.
Yeah.
But David just is too big for him and too much of that monster that he said he was. He showed it, and both guys did amazing, and it was a great fight. I think on every element, it had the crowd going crazy. Everybody loved the fight, and it was back and forth. But David Benavidez dominated it.
He did indeed. No, that was a great fight, and kind of everybody knew that would be a great fight. It was a great matchup, and I suppose as you've had that kind of inside look into what Benavidez is like in training and everything, how difficult of a task do you see him kind of being to Canelo? And if they do eventually, and hopefully they will fight, how difficult of a task do you think it will be for Canelo?
I think we saw Canelo have trouble with a bigger man, with Bivol, who's weak in box.
Yeah. And
I think it hits harder than Bivol, so it would be a hard fight for Canelo. It really would, because he's older. David is more hungry, and I think in terms of edge-wise, he doesn't have any losses, so that's also a factor. Canelo has a few losses.
Yeah.
And just the size difference, it would be a thing that Canelo would have to overcome, and it would be a great fight because you have a bigger Mexican versus smaller Mexican, younger guy versus the older guy. It'd be kind of like the passing of the torch, kind of when he fought Mayweather. It'd be kind of similar to that, except for I think at the end of the day, I think Benavidez would take it. I think Canelo would be able to do that at this point in his career.
No, indeed. I agree with you as well, to be honest. Well, I mean, of course, Canelo's got a big fight himself coming up. He's making a return to Mexico and versus John Ryder. How do you think that matchup is, and how do you think that would go down?
I think it's a great matchup. I think they're like the same size. They're a little shorter guys, short kings. But I think John Ryder's tough, man. He's a fighter. Like, he has had a career where he's had some losses, but his losses are to, household guys. And I think he's coming to fight. I think he's coming to try and win, but I don't think he's going to be able to beat Canelo just because Canelo, they kind of have similar styles. I think John Ryder, he's a southpaw, so that might give Canelo a little trouble in the beginning, but I think, he's fought southpaws with his Laura, right? Laura was a southpaw, right?
Yeah.
So he's fought some southpaw. A lot of people thought he lost to him, but there's some experience that I think John Ryder won't be able to match up into terms of Canelo's skills, but I think that's going to be a closer fight than a lot of people think. And if it's really close, I think Canelo was going to win just because of being Canelo. But I think it's going to be closer than a lot of people think, or it's just going to be Canelo knocks him out. One of the two. That's what I think was going to happen with that fight. But I think Canelo, more likely than not, will win that fight. And then a lot of people probably want the Benavidez fight, but he probably is going to fight Bivol again in September. So
I understand that, and I suppose if that Canelo versus Bivol fight does go back down, and I mean, you've seen what happened with Bivol since then. He's coming on and he's going on for maybe pound for pound greatness, and so how do you think that would fare if they went back at it again?
Back at it, it depends on what they do. They do 168 or 175 because I think, as a fighter who's kind of like Bivol, who can be 175 but could probably make 168, I think that if he goes to 168, it probably favors Canelo just because he is at his normal weight, and Bivol's going to go down and it might drain him a little bit. So I think it would fight at 168, but I just skills-wise and mentality-wise, I think the edge still goes to Bivol. But I think at 168 we have a closer fight, and we have a fight that Canelo has a better chance of winning. But if it's back at 175, I don't think that Canelo could beat him at 175. It's just too big for him.
Yeah, of course. And just to kind of go back onto you, I mean, when you get to maybe the later point in your career and you've kind of achieved everything you want to achieve, how would you like to be remembered in boxing?
I want to be remembered as the vibes, man. Just somebody who came in and did it different, had fun. Like, a lot of the fighters and stuff like that, I feel like unfortunately leave, and on a bad note or just can't stop. You know what I mean? Like, I just hate seeing that because they didn't get enough from boxing. I feel like a lot don't give it their all. They don't feel like they finish. So I want to be all and just walk away from the sport happy, healthy, and just with a smile on my face because I did everything that I wanted to do in the sport. That's how I want to be remembered. Somebody who had fun and did it different and had a really good time. You know what I mean? And didn't have to be some ugly, scary man who had to use that to just get his fame. I want to have fun and be remembered as a positive influence on boxing.
Indeed, that's great to hear. Okay, well, I'll leave with this final question, which I always like to ask. You've got a little bit of a platform here. Would you like to shout anything out?
Yeah, give a shout out to promotional company, Salidas Promotions, MGM Ring, my manager. Who else? My coaches, Christopher Mendez, Ricardo Acuna, my cut man, John Parham, and my sponsors, Chillin' Out, Seattle Boxing Gym, and the Washington Athletic Club. And also, I just started a podcast. So if you want to know a little bit more about me and my experience, I've started my podcast. It's on my channel, Richard Vansiclen, on YouTube. You also can follow me on my Instagram right here, Team Vansiclen. And yeah, that's it. Vibes.
Great vibes indeed. I'll sure to be checking out that podcast. It sounds like it's going to be great. And well, thank you very much for doing this, mate. Maybe a little bit further along down the line, we can come back and do another interview.
Absolutely. I really appreciate you for having me, Alex. And this is the channel Axel, right?
Axel72.
Axel72. Vibes, baby. Thank you for having me.
Nice one, mate. Thank you very much.